takes, they can appeal. Court. I've been a judge in the state of Illinois now since 2011. I've sat in the trial court where Judge Fairman and Judge Walker now serve. I sat in the Daly Center, hearing, like all new judges in the first instance, traffic matters. So I heard traffic, I heard eviction, I heard wage and employment, I heard small claims, I heard civil juries. After my stint as a trial judge, I then was assigned or appointed to the Illinois. So my journey to the bench has been a little different from most, but I am now a judge since 2011 and continue to serve in the Illinois Appellate Court.
Good morning. I am Andrea Bonds. I'm an attorney. I am going into my 19th year of practicing law. I started my law career at the Cook County Public Defender's Office, where we represented people who were indigent and couldn't afford an attorney. And then sometime after that, I went into private practice. So I mainly focus on defending people who are charged with criminal offenses. And I do a little bit of personal injury law. So if you slip and fall or are injured in some way, I take on those cases as well. I'm really especially happy to be here with you all today because in addition to my practice, I'm elected to serve on the Board of Education for Rich Township. So I'm the president of that board. I want to recognize the secretary of our Board of Education, Ms. Tiffany Taylor. She's sitting in the back. I'm here to support you all as well. And so our focus is really right now on creating career pathways for you. And so an event like today where you all get to come out and you get to hear about the different types of career fields that are available for you in the legal practice is huge. When I was your age, I didn't know anything about how to be a lawyer. My mother worked at the law school. I knew they taught people to be lawyers, but I had no idea what that meant. And I didn't have any access to that. And so this is an incredible opportunity. I'm glad you guys are here. I hope you ask all the questions you want to ask. And if you have ideas, you make sure those ideas get to the Board of Education because we are really focused on making sure that you all get what you need. And so with that, I'm going to pass the mic.
Good morning, everybody. Let's have a hearty round of applause for the president of the school board and also the secretary who's here. This wonderful the beautiful field house that we now have were facilitated by your Board of Education. This really is a world-class school now. I'm very grateful for that because I do also live in the community. My name is Steve Tyson. I'm from the south side of Chicago, now a south suburban resident. We live right here in Richmond Park. I'm an attorney at the Public Defender's Office. I've been there for 21 years. Wow. But what I'm really proud of is serving as the mock trial coach for these wonderful students that I see so many familiar faces. I see Munchie, Q, Darcy, Michael, Meepo, Key. I saw Alana. Where's Alana? There she is. How many underclassmen here? Juniors, sophomores, etc. Okay, so I'm going to put my plug in now. Come out for mock trial next year. We've done some wonderful things. Just this most recent year, we competed in several tournaments. Our student attorneys have done wonderful things. And if you are seriously considering a career in law, please come out and join mock trial. We're here, we want to get here, and we eventually want to win the state competition. So with that, one more thing I want to say is give a very hearty round of applause for Dean Taylor. You all don't know how hard she works. She works extremely hard. She works with her commitment
whose lives I impacted, who I had someone come up and introduce their wife, their kids to me. He named his kid after me because he said, but for me, this kid wouldn't be there. That is the most rewarding part, is the impact you have on people's lives, the ability to make a difference. And so that will forever be the best part in regards to private practice. If you love what you're doing, the money will come. But to be able to say you impacted somebody's life, but for you, this may not have happened, that's the most rewarding part that I experience.
Anybody else?
Who ascended to the bench in what might be called a non-traditional journey. I'm a clinical social worker. I have a master's degree in court more often than not, representing children, seeking the court's protection for those children who were abused and neglected. So you find judges who came with degrees in English, English Lit, social work, political science, all types of degrees. What law does is teaches you how to think and to analyze critically and problem solve. So while political science or legal studies might be a great foundation, can't dispute that it is, there really are no barriers. There really are no hindrances. I did not find my work in law school any more difficult than Judge Fairman probably did. Although for Judge Fairman, he probably aced every class. I can't claim that. But I don't think that there is an ideal. Law was my second career. And for many, many judges, lawyers, law is a second career. So I don't know if there's a best undergraduate degree. I think as long as you do the work, you spend the time, you get the grades, you focus, you can be whatever you want to be from wherever your journey starts.
Michael, what I'll say as an answer to that question is that choose whatever it is you love to study. You're going to be in college for 4 years. You're going to be taking classes in that major. So do something that you want to, that you enjoy. Now, there are certain things that you can do to prepare yourself for law school. While you're doing that, make sure you're taking as many writing classes as you can. I know there are going to be some mandatory writing classes that you take, but take as many as you can. Take classes where you read and think critically. That might be English classes. It might be classes in political science or in sociology or any of the other liberal arts. If you want to be a business major, then by all means do that as well. But just recognize that before you get to law school, you have to take the LSAT, the Law School Admissions Test, and it's going to test your reading comprehension, your ability to break down arguments, etc. So just do things in those 4 years while you're preparing to go to law school that will enhance your ability to do well on that exam. And then once you get into law school, that's what you're going to be doing pretty much, is reading and writing, reading and writing. And then the next day you're going to read and you're going to write. And then after that you're going to read and you're going to write some more. So that's what I would suggest. Anybody else?
So personally, when I was an undergrad, I went in knowing I wanted to go to law school, but I went in as a chemistry major. So I was talking to my advisor, and he was like, I don't think you should do chemistry. So he was like, well, what do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be a lawyer, but I was told it didn't matter what you majored in. It was just, what you had interest in. So that went on to be several other majors along the way. Which landed at Human Development Family Studies, where I was like, okay, well, I know I like family law. I know that that's something that I really like, but I would suggest, like Steve said, just make sure you're honing in on skills that are necessary for law school, but also I don't personally think it matters what you major in. It's more so like how you skill set yourself to move forward.
Ms. Smith, can I ask you a question? What's your typical day like?
But I just, there was one young lady that had a question.
Oh, did I miss him? Yeah, yeah.
So one of my questions was, like, what's the requirements to become a judge? Because that's something like I want to most likely do in the future. But I know a lot of people said like, oh, it's some specific requirements to become one.
Is that me? The requirements to become a judge. Well, I'll take that. So,
Do you want to answer, Judge?
yeah, I'm gonna answer,
Like, write that down.
and then I'll let the rest of the judges answer. So, the basic requirements are, number one, you have to be a lawyer. Can't be a judge unless you're a lawyer in Illinois, at least. Oddly enough, to sit on the United States Supreme Court, you don't have to be a lawyer. But in Illinois, in order to be a judge, you first have to be a lawyer. And while there is no specific set rule for how long you have to practice as a lawyer, I think most of the bar associations who review lawyers who are seeking to become judges require them to have at least been a lawyer for about 10 years. Then the next thing you have to do depends on how you plan on getting to the bench. So if you're planning on running, as a number of judges on the panel have, you have to get out and get people to vote for you. If you are an associate judge or plan to go through the associate process, which is the other way to become a judge, not only the process is that every now and then when there's an opening, at least one or at least three, I think, openings for associate judges. Associate judges are not elected by the general public. Associate judges have to interview for the positions. Usually there's 200 to 300 lawyers who are applying. They have to interview with the Chief Judges Committee, which is made up generally of all the presiding judges in the Circuit Court of Cook County, or a large representation of them. They have to be recommended by all of the bar associations. And then if there are 5 openings, the Chief Judges Committee selects twice the number of openings, so that would be 10. And those 10 people have to see every full circuit court judge in Cook County and get them to vote for them. And so the highest vote getters get the position. So the top 5 vote getters will get the position. And that's fundamentally how you become a judge in Cook County. Now, Justice Cobbs might have some additional information that you might want to share, or just Judge Fairman.
I think Judge Walker did a really comprehensive job of explaining how you become a judge. But in Illinois, like the majority of states in our country, we elect our judges. There are some states which do what we call merit selection, meaning that there is a small contingent usually appointed by a governor who will, based on merit, appoint judges to the bench. But in Illinois, in all of the counties in Illinois, we elect our judges at the circuit court level, at the appellate court level, and at the Supreme Court level. Judge Walker explained to you the process to become an associate judge. Judge Fairman recently completed a run to become a full circuit court judge, having, or currently sitting as an associate, soon to be administered the oath to be a full circuit court judge. But he ran an election, a campaign to become a circuit court judge. And just as Judge Walker indicated, you must launch a judicial campaign. And unlike other individuals who run for office, for state senate, or even for school board chair, president, judges are bound by certain rules. So even though we run judicial campaigns to be elected to the bench, there are certain rules that preclude us from doing a lot of things that other candidates running for public office can do. The big one, judges can't ask for money. Yet, to run a judicial campaign, you need money. Judges can't tell you what they will do, how they'll rule, how they won't rule, what their opinions are about anything. Yet, we must run and campaign and talk to individuals who will vote to have judges sitting on the bench. I ran recently to continue my service on the Illinois Appellate Court. My campaign was pretty much the same as Judge Fairman's, except everybody liked him better than me, and so he didn't have an opponent. But in any case, it is the process that we engage in Illinois, and that is why we are out a lot of times talking to students, talking to adults about the importance of the judicial branch of government, because you elect judges, and you will see a judge, or somebody in your family is going to see a judge in your or their lifetime before you'll ever see the President of the United States, a United States Senator or Congressperson. But judges are elected by voters who are registered in the state of Illinois. Judge Fearman, do you want to add? He doesn't want to add. He's deferring to the appellate court.
Piggybacking off of Justice Cobb's, because she told you you have to run to be elected. But one of the things I think that lawyers who want to be judges don't think about is, what do you do before you decide to run? Because if you wake up one day and you say, I want to run for judge, you may not be successful. So you have to put in work before then. And what that looks like is serving people. These judges right now, everybody here is serving you. This is serving the community, coming here, sharing. Nobody's getting paid to do this, but this is a way to serve. Getting involved in politics in a way to understand what the election process looks like. Getting out, figuring out, who are the players? What do I need to be doing? How do I need to position myself? Not just being a lawyer and then deciding I want to run. So you have to think about those things as well when you want to, if you're positioning yourself for that. And I think that's one mistake a lot of lawyers don't do, is they don't really understand the process.
And now I'm going to re-piggyback because Andrea touched on a very important point, and it's great to see so many of you in the room. What we talk about a lot, and what she was just talking about, is networking. There are a lot of you in the room, and there are 8 or so of us up here. Before you leave this room, you should make sure that you have connected with somebody on this stage. It's called networking. It's called getting a name. It's called making a contact that you may or may not need later in life. No matter if you're not planning a degree in law, wherever you're planning to go, whatever you're planning to do in the next phase of your educational journey or in your career journey, networking is critical. Know the people in the room who can help you get to where you're going. I think that all of us on this stage had a mentor or someone with whom we were able to network who helped us get to where we are today. I am no different. I had a wonderful mentor and have wonderful mentors. Grab one, keep one.
Any other questions from the audience?
How do you guys disassociate emotions when you're in a case that you really care about?
Is that directed at judges or the lawyers?
Everybody.
You don't. I think a huge part of being an effective advocate is the emotion that comes with making your argument. Now, I can't go to court and cry, although some attorneys use theatrics in that way, but I can't let my emotion overcloud the argument. So I have to make clear, concise arguments, but your emotion is what pushes you. How much I care about my client and what happens to him really comes out in the arguments that I make. So I don't think you do disassociate. I don't know about what judges do.
I would say, as a judge, I do my best for both sides, regardless of whether or not something emotional, to try to maintain cool, calm, collective response, personality on the bench, so that one side versus the other doesn't think that you're favoring another one way or another. So I do my best regardless of what's going on or the outcome or what's being performed through the courtroom. to maintain my composure. I would say, as Ms. Bonds indicated, in private practice now, that was a completely different situation in regards to emotions. I had cases, I'll be honest with you, I've made people cry on the other side. I've made police officers cry on the other side. I've made several other folks. If I believe that you are not telling the truth, as a private attorney, as a prosecutor, it was the same way in regards to both. If I believed that you weren't telling the truth, or I knew you weren't telling the truth, I came after you, and I'm good at what I did. And just the honest truth, and I believed in regards to the right thing happening, and if I knew and believed in my heart that this was what was right in regards to an attorney, good luck, because I was coming after you.
Yeah, your passion for your argument will make judges like Judge Fairman, Justice Cobbs, Judge Walker, they'll do things that they didn't want to do. But you can move them. So you just have to learn how to hone it in. Yeah, okay.
So that's a great question. I typically use my emotion as fuel. I'll say this, I give 100% for each and every one of my clients, but certain times you have a client where because of what they're charged with, and if they're not acquitted, they're looking at a lot of time. So I use that as fuel to, even though I'm giving 100, I'm giving the maximum level of 100, if that makes sense. And so because I don't want to miss anything, I don't want to not do something, not turn over a stone that I need to turn over, because I don't ever want it to be where my client is suffering because of something that I did not do. So in terms of the emotions, the passion, you kind of use it as fuel. But as Attorney Bond said, you can't allow that to cloud yourself. So you still have to see clearly. So you don't want to allow it to steer you off path and then say something that you shouldn't say in court. But you still want to use that passion to go forward with that type of zeal if you're trying your case in front of the judge or if you're trying it in front of the jury. My trial advocacy coach told me that a trial is a transference of belief. If I believe it, I got to get you to believe it. So that's how we kind of utilize our emotions and passion positively, and we try not to allow them to negatively impact us.
I was going to ask a question of Ms. Smith, and that is, what's your typical day like as a court reporter? What do court reporters do?
Well, I'll get to the courtroom. Yeah, our schedule, because, like I said, Markham has, you can hear me, right? I'm speaking loud enough. The variety of courtrooms, so we have an assigned room. I basically get there, and I gotta be there before the judge hits the bench because I have equipment and what have you to set up. When I go in, because we are writing everything everybody says, we also have to identify who said it. Otherwise, I just got a bunch of words, right? So I start off by figuring out, getting the lay of the land, who's my state's attorneys. The public defender's office in Markham makes my job really interesting because the public defenders fly from room to room to room, so it's not always going to be the same person in there at the same time. But, you know, once I've gotten myself situated and got a copy of the call, I am there and I'm just writing everything that is said, as long as that room is up. When they go down for lunch, I go down for lunch, and when they're done for the day, I'm done for the day in that room. But then transcripts are ordered for various cases, and when the courtroom is down, then that is my time to produce those transcripts and work on those transcripts. So, you know, our days fluctuate. If it's a very busy day in the room, it's a busy day for me. And just the difference between our mental take on it. The lawyers that are there are dealing with the 1 or 2 or 4 or however many cases they have for the day, and they're done. I'm hearing all of it. you know, whether it's written or not written, meaning ordered as a transcript or not ordered, I have basically, I'm responsible for all of it. So the important thing is to, as my day is structured, keep up with, you know how if you've ever had a day where your mind just wanders in your class, or you even maybe go to sleep and wake back up, you can do that in some jobs, but not mine. You know, if I get off track, that is like a tape recorder running. If I'm not paying attention, I'm not going to get down what someone said. So, you know, it requires a lot of concentration. And sometimes I can't listen too much, because if I'm getting involved in what the lawyers are doing, I'm like, no, why did he ask that question? I maybe would have said, I can't do that, because somebody's still talking, I got to write it down. So you have to kind of concentrate on what is in front of you, but you're also listening to what is in front of you, because if someone misspeaks, you know, I have to also say, did you just say, you know, 2024 or whatever? Because again, the one person in the room that's paying attention to everything everybody says is me. But basically my day is structured by how the court call is structured. And when we're there, we're writing. When we're not there, we're producing transcripts.
Ms. Reed, what's the difference between what a paralegal does and what a lawyer does?
We cannot practice law. We do everything to assist as far as helping with organizing any discovery that's brought in, helping with handling the client. It's just with passing information that's from the attorney. We just help with helping everything stay organized. So if it's a trial coming up, making sure they have all the pieces and like moving. Like last week we had a trial, so I was a part of helping with making sure we listed every exhibit that we had that came in through the court case. But we cannot practice law. We can't argue in front of a judge. We can't give legal advice. We can't, even if it could be a simple question, we can't just give them that advice because we cannot practice law. So it's a very fine line, but we assist the attorney in doing all of their duties as far as how they're helping their client, but we do not practice law.
And Mr. Webb, you're the president and CEO of Fact Finders Group. What does Fact Finders Group do?
Well, Fact Finders Group Incorporated is a research and investigative firm. We provide private security guards. We conduct investigations into a myriad of things. We engage in cybersecurity, access control, and if you look at your computers and your cell phones and your home, we provide security services for each and all of those things. But when you look at security today, you're looking at a $30 billion business. There are careers out there to become technicians, to become investigators, to become detectives, to become security. The Democratic National Convention's coming here to Chicago. A massive security opportunity for drivers, for physical people, people's physical presence. So, Fact Finders has been in business for 26 years. We provide investigative services for the city of Chicago, the Chicago Public Schools, the Chicago City Colleges, claims investigations. People are always filing claims and lawsuits that a lot of these judges have to adjudicate, and gathering evidence, getting the facts is what's really essential. But when we look, and our company belongs to the World Association of Detectives. which means that we associate with other detective and security agencies throughout the world that have a similar qualifications for investigations and service that we have. And we have conducted investigations in Russia, South Africa, and around the globe. So that's what Fact Factors does.
All right, thank you. So we're about to conclude our first part of the session, but for you students who might be leaving, the Illinois Judicial Council, which I'm the incoming president of, provides a judicial externship program for high school students who would like to come and work with judges in chambers. And what it does is over the summers, we allow you to work with judges in chambers like Judge Fairman or Justice Cobbs or myself. You will come in, you'll get to see what judges do, you get to talk to the lawyers who work on our staffs, you'll get to hear the cases that we adjudicate, you will get to see trials go on, and all kinds of other interesting things that you might not otherwise have an opportunity to do so. The program starts June 10th through August 2nd. In order to apply, you just need to send a copy of your resume and a cover letter to me, as well as a recommendation letter from a principal or a teacher or a counselor. And if you're under the age of 18, you need a letter of consent from a parent or guardian. I believe Ms. Taylor has the information. She can give it to you if anybody is interested. All right?
To raise your hand if you like one.
Thank you. Thank you to all those for celebrating and honoring our judges today, lawyers, and all legal careers. Thank you, judges, for sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us today. We would also like to thank RTHS District 227, the Board of Education, the board members, Andrea Barnes, Tiffany Taylor, who are all present today. We would also like to thank Superintendent Dr. Johnny Thomas, Principal Fields, Mrs. Bernardo, Mrs. Taylor, and all staff members for your support, guidance, and encouragement with the Law Day program. Thank you.
So just all students, if there are some students who would like to stay for second session, you'll be able to do so. I'll take care of your attendance. You can let Amaya know at the door, and then you come back and sit down. Ms. Hall, this is the end of phase 3. If you could send the teachers, you're a little late, an email to let them know to excuse those students. And thank you all for coming. Thank you. The rest of you all will be staying. You can have a time to use the restroom or speak to the officials if you like and ask some questions you may not have. We'll do a 5-minute intermission before the next session starts. Thank you. You guys want to go to the restroom? Anything?
Yes, sir.